All right. Well, I will welcome everyone to Sly and JBell's review of. Well, I guess it's really just my review.
That's
You
right.
have not actually watched this movie.
I never made it out to see
Um,
this one. That's right.
yeah, we're gonna talk about. Maybe I'll say we will talk about rather than review.
Yeah.
Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah. Well,
I,
I think
I
it's your review. It's our discussion.
Yeah, I guarantee you at some point I'm going to screw up and call it Superman. I've noticed like whenever I
Is
talk
that your
about this
thing?
movie, I don't know why, but just because it starts with an S and
Okay.
ends in man.
Okay.
I confuse the two. My brain just can't even get them straight.
Well, I heard in the sequel to Batman v Superman, they're going to do Superman versus Spider-Man next,
Oh my gosh, right?
which
Uh,
actually happened in the comic books.
is that
Yeah.
See? This is where your expertise really plays because while I did certainly read comic books,
Sure.
and I guess you could say collect them
Sure.
in the past. I really was not aware of what exactly was happening in most of
Right.
these universes
Right.
back
Right.
then. I think the comic books I've read the most, as you probably know, is like Alien and Predator and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
yeah.
Marvel universe, I didn't keep up with what was actually happening with all these
Yeah,
characters.
I got you.
Yeah.
As a little shout out, if anybody watching, including you, if
Mhm.
anybody listening is curious about that, there's a series called Atop the Fourth Wall. He's another internet personality. He actually has a pretty sweet review of that Spider-Man Superman crossover. Go ahead and give that one a shot and come on back.
Okay, all right, very cool.
So I want to know about this Spider-Man movie though.
Yeah, okay. So overall,
Okay.
very very good movie.
Okay.
I thought in general it was. I think we kind of talked about it before, but I didn't have anything against the previous Spider-Man movies. I mean,
Okay.
the most recent Amazing Spider-Man,
Yeah.
was not very good. I didn't have anything against the Maguire versions.
Okay.
They were fine.
Okay.
Honestly, they were corny as hell, but I can't hold it against them because all superhero movies back then were corny as hell.
Sure.
I mean, before
You're coming
Christopher Nolan, I mean, Batman was corny as hell.
Right, Batman vs
Um,
Superman. Batman and Robin was
Right.
like this camp fest filled with ice puns everywhere.
Yeah.
yeah,
Chill out.
chill out, and not sending me to the cooler and all this nonsense like
Right.
that. Yeah, so I guess it is kind of the era
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah, so this one, I really did feel like I think they finally got it on the right track, especially as it pertains to melding with the rest of the Marvel universe.
Okay.
I think the big things that were positive for me in this movie, the casting, I think
Okay.
fantastic casting. I will say the suit,
Hmm.
as, as a character in and of itself, was really well done. For
Okay.
once in these movies.
Okay.
I've never felt really comfortable with how they've explained the suit and the web slinging,
Okay.
and I think they knocked it out of the park.
So I kind of want you to put this in perspective then.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of superhero films. So if we're going to call the worst of the worst, like Batman v Superman,
Right.
I don't know if what's your best of the best. I mean, Deadpool or one of the Avengers film or something. How does this rate compare to those? Are we talking like this is an Ant-Man pleasant surprise?
Mhm.
Is this like a Guardians, like this blew me out of the water? Or where are you going to rank this one? How does it compare?
It didn't blow me out of the water. I'll say
Okay.
that. It did not blow me out of the water.
But still good.
It was still very good.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, in terms of the casting, like you can start with the main character. I thought Tom Holland was a very good choice.
Okay. He looks young. I honestly I don't know much of about the film.
Yeah.
He's still in high school in this, right? I think I saw him in a school bus.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He is supposed to be 15 in the movie.
15?
I believe, yes. He's supposed to be 15.
Whoa.
In actuality, I think the actor's like 21 or 22. I don't
Wow.
know off the top of my head, but
I didn't realize he was supposed to be that young.
Yeah, so I think he was supposed to be like 15 in this movie.
Wow.
And you know what? He can pull it off. He
Okay.
does look young. He looks young. It sounds young.
Yeah.
Which more power to him. I hope he can maintain that for the rest of his life. I'm being jealous, but yeah, that's what he's supposed to be.
Well, let's pause
he-
here for a second. Well,
Yeah.
I've got questions about this.
Mhm.
I know for me, like I've read Spider-Man since I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like I first probably read my first Spider-Man comic in like 1990 or 91.
Yeah, yeah.
I might even read like one of my dad's old comics from like the 60s or 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, Peter Parker was like a grown man.
Yeah.
Whether he be like in grad school or college or on his own or married. Like for most of my readership, he was like living with Mary Jane Watson, engaged to her, married to her,
Mm-hmm.
and they were having marital fallout. Like I'm used to an adult Spider-Man. How did him being a kid influence the story, if at all?
Yeah, so you've heard me in previous discussions of movies. I've been very critical of the the tried and true damsel in distress story.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
And they do kind of do that in
Okay.
in this story where he's got, I guess, his love interest in this story is Liz, who
Okay.
I guess, is the daughter of who ends up being Vulture.
Okay, the Michael Keaton.
Yes.
Character.
At first I was going to be critical of it, but the age thing made it make more sense than others of these superhero movies. Because like I was thinking, 15-year-old, of course he's going to have a crush. Like of course he's
Okay.
going to have these feelings. You know, it just made that aspect of the story make more sense than some of these adult superheroes.
Okay.
So it worked, I think, as a positive in that way. And they also, I think, in some of the previous Spider-Man movies, they portrayed Peter Parker as, while he was technically a kid, they really kind of show him as an adult. Like
Okay.
his knowledge and expertise is not that of a child.
Okay.
You know, not of a high schooler. And they actually showed this kid as being, I don't want to say stupid, but
As a 15-year-old, you're kind of ignorant of the world, though.
yeah, like they showed him as a Spider-Man who had these abilities and didn't know what the hell to do with them. You know, and
Do you feel like that was? It sounds like they did a good job showing that.
yeah.
Do you feel like that was something that added to the film? Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, you know what? I did much more so than the previous entries,
Hmm.
for sure. I believed he was a 15-year-old, and I believed he was growing into this role,
Okay.
you know, as Spider-Man, and it gave me hope, kind of like what you're saying. I'm looking forward to adult Spider-Man as
Okay.
well. Like I think that's something that needs to happen,
Yeah.
and I think if they can stick with this casting choice and let the role grow with him,
Just keep on the same track.
yeah, we can see Spider-Man age. Like we can see this guy turn into an adult, and I think that would be cool because
That's kind of cool.
he's good in the role. I think he will continue to fit the role very well. I think it would be. I think for once you might actually get to see grown up Superman. I told you I was going to do it. I told you I was going to do it.
You should have. If you took the over, don't take the over. You should have taken the under. Okay. Well, that's actually an interesting concept. I hadn't really thought about him growing into the role over time, and maybe that's something that's interesting. I'll be honest. I kind of laid out my fanhood of Spider-Man, and I'm not terribly interested in a high school teenage Spider-Man. But maybe if the plan is to grow him up and put him in these different situations that aren't filled with teen angst, I suppose. maybe that is something that can interest me. I kind of want to hear a little bit about the villain, about this Vulture, Michael Keaton's Vulture.
Yeah. So I mean, I think they did a fantastic job, like I said, with the casting.
Okay.
I think Keaton did a great job portraying that blue collar American. So he's a salvage. He's the foreman, I think, of the salvage company.
Okay.
And it was really cool seeing him be the average Joe who was getting pushed aside by the man and by these superheroes that just seem to be decimating the world around the average person.
So what's his beef with Spider-Man?
Well, he doesn't have one at first. He and his crew are salvaging like the wreckage from the Battle of New York.
Okay.
That's the whole premise. So they're getting all this stuff, and basically the government comes in and tells them, well, you can't do this anymore. We've got a different company coming in. This is our property. You need to get the hell out of it.
We gotta pause for a second.
Yeah.
Ben, that was a while ago, man.
Yeah.
That first Avengers film was 2012.
Yes.
Is that right?
We're going that. Yeah.
That's 5 years ago, man.
Yeah.
How does this movie take place in that time period?
I suppose. I mean, I guess we're still cleaning this crap up.
Okay. So
we're still.
Is that the
this
point?
up.
Is that the point? Is like this is such a devastating thing
Mm-hmm.
that years later we're still cleaning this up. Which I mean,
Yeah.
I guess let's take a pause and get real for a second.
Mm-hmm.
If you know anybody who's dealt with the effects of Katrina, that was in some places still is something that's going on right now.
Oh, yeah.
I know those folks down in Houston. Let's go out. Let's say that whole coastal area are dealing with Harvey. So let's pause and say, go with God, guys. Hopefully you guys are safe, safe as you can be. Lord knows if you saw the overlays of the two storms, Katrina and Harvey, it looked like Harvey in some ways might be a worse storm than Katrina. So real talk. Hope you guys are doing okay down there,
Right.
and we'll see you on the other side of it, and maybe we'll get the chance to go down there and do some cleanup work for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Now that that's out the way, real disastrous events can take years to clean up, and maybe that's something they're going with here.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe grounding this in something that says it isn't all okay. Once the credits roll, these characters have to deal with this.
That was definitely what they were going for, and,
Okay.
and so they get pushed out of the way, and this is it apparently deprives the crew of a whole lot of lucrative work. So what they continue to do is basically gather this stuff and start selling it on the black market. All of this alien tech.
Oh wow!
Right. So I mean that I'll go into some negatives at one point, but
Okay.
I think Keaton did a good job portraying that blue collar guy who's just getting passed over, just getting stomped on. He's working really hard, and then it's just like, well, I have no choice but to basically resort to crime to support my family. And he did a good job of it. I will say that the character, I feel, kind of went off the rails at one point.
What do you mean went off the rails?
Well, yeah. So I can go straight into it. So I felt like that Vulture character transformed much more quickly than I would have ever anticipated. So he went from the good old blue collar guy to being an expert in alien technology, and he looked and behaved like he had been operating this gear, this getup with the wings and the helmet and everything. It looked like he'd been flying combat missions for 10 years. He was so good at it and was able to manipulate this suit with inhuman levels of accuracy.
I'm hearing this from you. I have to ask the question.
Yeah.
And maybe it's one you can't even answer. Is this the kind of thing where he could have developed these skills over years? This is kind of what I'm hearing. If he had made this decision in 2013 and now we see him in 2017 and 4 years have gone by and now he's got this mastery of the suit and abilities, but it sounds like he kind of just ramps up to this over weeks.
Yeah, the timeline is a little fuzzy in the movie, and
that's a little weird.
It is really strange because they go from being your average salvagers to being seemingly experts in this alien technology that they have no reason or basis to understand or know. And they're not just salvaging the stuff; they're taking it and repurposing it, building new things with it. And I'm going, how in the F do these guys know how to do any of this?
Right, they're building devices that have never existed, conceptually might never have existed before. Wow, that's kind of a weird writing choice to go with there.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a big leap. I think you could have gotten there.
Okay.
I think they just went a little too fast going there, because all of a sudden these guys are experts in things they really had no business being experts in. And there were times, like in some of the fight scenes, especially the big fight scene where Vulture is facing off with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And he has the ability to manipulate individual digits, like feathers on the wing. He's not holding controls or anything in his hands. It's like he's doing it telepathically.
Is that how they're getting around this? Like the thing connects with him?
Yeah, he just. I don't have an explanation.
So they don't even explain this to you?
No, they do not. He just
Okay.
he suits up and goes to town. And this guy is a master of this freaking suit.
Okay.
And in battle, not just like flying around,
Right.
manipulating it. I mean, he's like shielding himself. He is picking things up between the individual feathers. I mean, it's metal, obviously, whatever substance it is. But yeah, it was very odd that this guy.
Sounds weird.
Yeah, it was a big leap from being the common man to being. Look, he had a better suit than Captain America's sidekick. I was like, he's probably
Falcon.
Falcon's probably watching this going, "What? Do we not have enough cash to get me that?
Give me one of these.
Yeah, what the hell? Why am I rolling around this busted piece?
Yeah,
he's got this thing.
He's a new one after the last Avengers film, right?
So yeah, exactly. So I don't know. That was like one of the few negatives I came away with in the movie. I mean, otherwise, like the casting was good. I mean, like I said, Holland was really good at playing a youngster.
We talked a lot about the casting. Like, let's kind of talk about the film.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a superhero movie. I kind of want to know about the visuals. Like, how did things look? Like, did the action look good? Did the CGI look good?
It did, yeah, for sure. I mean, I think it stood out to me after having just seen, after we talked about Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
We talked about the CG. I think CG was extremely well done in this. And it helps. It helps when we're talking about a guy that's completely covered in a suit.
Right.
It's like any of those kinds of things, whether it's Deadpool or whatever the case may be. I mean, that when someone's completely encased in a suit, it's much easier to pull off the CG because you can't see a human face.
Right.
So they did a very good job, and in that respect, I think the suit. I think I was telling you. I think the actual suit that he wore was a show stealer. It was so cool because in the previous movies they've taken different paths in figuring out how to describe or explain like the web slinging, that kind of ability, and all that, and just like how well tailored this freaking suit was.
Right.
I think in the past they've done a poor job with it. Like you could not convince me that this high schooler was able to tailor this kind of like high tech, amazing looking suit. It didn't make sense.
Right.
And then I guess with Maguire, didn't they explain it where his web slinging was actually in his hand?
Right, they were organic web shooters.
Yeah, I mean it was like Wolverine shooting bones out of his hand, right? Yeah. And then they ditched that in Amazing Spider-Man. He actually constructed the machines, right? There was
a device, and they had a sequence where he was shooting out the old jettisoning the old canister and putting it in the
which again for me didn't make much sense because I'm like, how is this high schooler doing this? That's nonsense. But I think in many ways one of the things that really makes this film work better than any of the previous Spider-Men is pairing it with Tony Stark.
Okay.
That alone is like the best, I think one of the best choices that they made for this story. Because if we're talking about the suit, I mean, before when I would have said, how the hell is this kid making this? If you now tell me, well, Iron Man made it, I believe it.
You're in, right?
I don't need any more explanation. Yeah. Iron Man made this goddamn suit, so
perfect.
Makes perfect sense to me. And now I understand why he's shooting webs out of his wristbands. And there's a part in the movie I thought was just like so freaking cool where the logo, the Spider-Man logo, pops out of the suit and it's a freaking drone. The thing is a manipulable drone. And I was like, that is such a cool idea.
I kind of want to see that.
And because Iron Man made it, I believe it.
You're in.
I don't even ask questions about it.
Wow. Okay, that's actually really interesting.
Yeah, and I think it's not just the suit. I think Tony plays such a great role.
How big is the Tony Stark role?
He is in it repeatedly.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a pretty decent.
Total screen time. Half hour.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay.
Yeah, because in parts of it he's saving Peter's butt. He saves him, and then other times he's playing dad. And I think that's a really cool. I think it's a really cool aspect of the story because it works really well. You know, you've got Tony Stark, who, you know, his memories of his dad are from when he was really young, and he spent the rest of his life just resenting the guy. And then, you know, Peter has basically never had parents, never had his dad.
Right.
And I think you saw, like in Iron Man 3, Tony interacting with that kid that helped him out.
Yeah.
And you saw him, like, it was like the first time he ever interacted with a child.
Yeah.
And you saw him mature in that film.
Right, right.
And now the two, it's cool how what they've done is like the two characters are kind of growing together.
Interesting.
And that, you know, one of course never had kids and also never really, he regrets the lack of a father figure, or at least appreciating his father when he was a kid. And the other kid is just he's dying to please somebody.
Yeah.
You know, he just wants to please someone, and this is Pops. This is now his Pops, and they
interesting.
They work really, really well together.
So if he's the father figure, you have like the younger, you know, super milfy Marissa Tomei. How does that? Well, I'm actually really curious to see how. I like Marissa Tomei as an actress.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of surprised to see her in this role. Of course, she was in the appearance in the previous film.
Yeah.
But like this kind of, you know, younger Aunt May. I mean, every Aunt May I can think of has always been like a white-haired, bun-having old lady. You know?
Right. Right.
So having a younger Aunt May, how does that play in, and did it work?
I think it worked very well.
Okay.
I think she was perfect for it.
Oh, wow.
She is. So it was interesting because I did, after seeing the movie, I read a fair amount of criticism for casting her because I think people were expecting more of Grandma May.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not criticizing. Was it Sally Fields? I think she was fine for the role.
Right.
But certainly the McGuire version, that was Grandma.
No, certain.
Grandpa and Grandma.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think she was really cool as a choice for that role because you know, for one, she dropped dead gorgeous.
Yeah.
Still. And age-wise, it makes perfect sense because I was looking it up. She's, I assume she still is, 52.
Okay.
I'm sorry for calling you out, Marissa. I think the internet beat me to it. But yeah, she's 52, and in this film, Peter's supposed to be 15, I think. So if we assume that Aunt May is Marissa Tomei's age, 52,
right?
When Peter was born, she would have been 37. So she would have been the older sister, right? I mean, the age
put her
works
sister
perfectly.
in like 32 or something.
Yeah. And I think it's cool seeing her at that kind of age. She's, you know, she is trying to be a parent, but also wants to be the friend, and is trying to figure out that role. Clearly, she doesn't have kids of her own, and it's, yeah, I thought she did a really good job. And because she still looks so good, it's funny the interaction between her and Tony, who's playing dad.
That's kind of what I'm curious about is how they get along.
Yeah, so I'd be interested in future films to see how that tension works, especially with Pepper.
Yeah.
Seeing them interact, I bet you could write some pretty interesting scenarios with that.
I'm actually curious about that.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll touch that going forward. I kind of hope they will. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So, talk to me about some of the action sequences. Is there anything that you really stuck out, good or bad, about the action sequences?
I will say in terms of the action sequences, I liked all of them except for the main battle between Vulture and Spider-Man. I think it just went over the top. Like so far I don't think I've spoiled too much.
No.
It just, needless to say, they're in the atmosphere. Okay, they are up in the clouds fighting, and it was too much. I think they went over the top, and if I wanted to come up with the one other complaint of the movie, was maybe it's my shortcoming, but maybe I don't understand what Spider-Man is. I've understood that this kid, was bitten by a radioactive spider.
Right.
and he's super agile.
Right.
All right. He is super strong.
Right.
Has
Propensatory strength of a spider, right?
Yeah, he has like hyper awareness. Has some kind, like
spider
hyper
sense.
awareness.
Yep.
They got spidey sense. One thing I had not been aware of is that he has indestructible bones. Because
what?
the beating I watched this kid take,
okay,
and this ending sequence, no one would survive it. I mean, I was watching this thinking, well, he has to be shattered. This guy has to be shattered.
Let's change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
If Captain America had been in this sequence and taken the beating like that, would you have raised an eyebrow?
I would have been concerned for him.
Interesting.
I would say I would have been somewhat concerned.
See, you just think he took too much of it. Okay, so I would say I don't know if there's ever been an issue. I'm sure there has been about the Spider-Man's physiology.
Yeah.
I'm sure to justify his ability to do everything, he's probably got a stronger than normal skeleton, muscular structure, and all that stuff.
Mm.
I'd imagine so. And kind of when you think about Spider-Man, you think of the agile hero who you can't get a hold of, which makes when you get a hold of him, he takes damage, puts him in more peril. And I kind of remember him taking some severe beatings. I have to see it for myself to really judge it. I can think of a couple real gnarly beatings, but I guess he's Spider-Man,
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah.
you got to assume he's going to get back up and win.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that's an interesting criticism. When I do see it, I'm going to have to watch out for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we kind of wrapped it all in a bow. I'm going to ask you questions about how you feel about going forward.
Yeah.
Are you excited to see more Spider-Man? Movies,
I am.
Not more of him in movies. More Spider-Man movies.
Yes. For once, I can say I am actually interested to see more of this.
Okay.
I think the selection of characters, or the casting is really good. I think what they did a phenomenal job with was the other kids in the movie. That was something I don't think they'd really ever messed with in the previous movies.
No.
They gave him kind of a sidekick in this movie.
Really?
And he is awesome. He is legitimately amazing. I mean, I think all the kids that they put in it, it was like they were on this team in high school, and you had such cool characters. You had this one chick that was like this existentialist, I don't give a crap kind of character.
Okay.
We knew people like
sure,
that. Maybe,
of course.
Maybe some of us were that person.
Certainly. Yeah.
But like she pretended to not give a crap, but actually really did.
Yeah.
Of course, you had his love interest, which she was an interesting character.
Okay.
You had the standard douchebag that was just like always talking crap to Peter and trying to backstab him.
Flash Thompson?
What's that?
Was that Flash Thompson? I don't even know Flash Thompson's in the film.
Right.
Well, from that description, that kind of sounds like early Flash Thompson.
Yeah, and then his sidekick was fantastic. He played the role perfectly, and I think that added more like a cool dimension to it. That really made you feel like this is a teenager. Like this kid has interactions in school. He's not just a scientist.
That's actually really cool. One of the things I always thought was cool about Spider-Man in the comic books and even the cartoon series that I never thought carried to the movies was Peter Parker as being like a nervous, I don't have any friends kind of dude. Yeah. That doesn't really ring true in most interpretations of the character. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like Mary Jane Watson is like a soap opera actress / model. He's got like a super fine wife, and he's got he's got a circle of friends, and maybe they get dwindled down as they get older or whatever. But like, he's successful in his work. He's like one of the experts a budding expert in his field. Like, he's not like, oh, I don't know, oh shucks, I don't know how to talk to a friend. Like that's right. Not really him. And as he becomes like more confident in being Spider-Man, he's kind of more confident in being Peter Parker as well. Yeah. So I'm actually that's actually really encouraging to hear about this particular interpretation. I'm going to have to watch out for that. Yeah. Now let's talk. You and I did a little bit of research as far as where the series is going to go, and I'm going to bring up 2 points here. Yeah. First being, this movie is kind of towing the line between the Marvel universe, the shared universe that we know, the television series and the Netflix series as well, and the kind of Sony properties, the properties that Sony still has the rights for, which is the Spider-Man universe.
Yeah.
So Sony's announced a Venom movie with not Ed Hardy. That's the clothing. That's the
Tom.
Tom Hardy, the fight actor. Tom Hardy is being Eddie Brock / Venom.
Yeah,
I think I have mixed feelings. I mean, I still haven't seen the first movie, but Venom works. Venom is a character I don't think they've ever done well in a movie. They've only tried it once, and that was in the worst Spider-Man movie, of that series.
Oof, yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I never finished it.
I think you made the correct choice.
Right. And like it's cool that they put like, okay, let's get a great actor, someone that people like, someone that has like a real edge to him that we know can play a villain. I don't expect him to be Bane in the film, but he probably is going to borrow some elements from that performance. I've actually heard that movie is not in continuity with the Marvel universe, where Homecoming is, these other Spider-Verse films will not be.
Oh, what? Seriously?
Now, I don't know. Look, I don't even know if there's a director attached to this Venom film, and we couldn't even find the other film that I thought I had heard about. And I thought there was supposed to be like a Sinister Six or like a villain movie of the Spider-Man world. We couldn't find anything about it. Yeah. Maybe that was just Twitter rumblings, but these, like, Sony's still planning on having movies that don't tie in with the rest of the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
And I imagine they won't be written, or at least produced in part, by Marvel.
Yeah.
I don't know how much I'm excited for those as I'm excited about your words about Homecoming.
Yeah.
Are you still interested in... Does it matter to you that some of these sequels and follow-ups will or won't be in the greater Marvel universe?
Yeah, I would say it's a pretty big deal because they haven't done that yet.
No.
Right? I mean, everything that they've done up to this point all relates to something else. I mean, all of these IPs that they've tied together, they are dedicated to each other.
Yeah.
And I think that's the strength. I mean, as soon as you start breaking that up, you give me less incentive to care, right? I mean,
I think about the other films. Let's just talk about superhero films. Leave out like Harry Potter, and we got a note about Harry Potter when you follow that too.
Right.
But leave like Harry Potter and Star Wars. Leave that on the side for now. We're just talking about superhero films. Really, we're talking about two major players and their hangers-on. You have the DC Universe, which just had their first real breakthrough with Wonder Woman. Can't wait for more. Sounds like they're starting to right the ship over there. Excited to see where they go. And the Marvel Universe, which is still kicking, still going strong, leading the way forward. And they've got a full... Man, I'm pumped for Thor 3.
Hell yeah.
I'm super pumped for Black Panther.
Dude, Ragnarok
looks sweet.
Oh my God.
And who knows what Infinity War is even gonna look like. Great. And this, the hangers-on for Marvel, I don't think DC has the same problem. Marvel still doesn't have all of its rights back.
Oh, yeah.
Fox still owns, for whatever reason, they're still holding on to Fantastic Four. And they've produced 3 films, and they've yet to produce one that's any good. Yeah. There was a couple of Punisher films of varying quality. There was a Daredevil film starring Ben Affleck.
Oh God!
Right, and all these properties kind of reverted back to Marvel, and there's a good Daredevil series now. There's a Punisher series, which maybe that's gonna end up being good, but they didn't get the rights back to Fantastic Four, and they didn't get the rights back to X-Men, both held by Fox. And we were talking about Fox earlier, these Fox films earlier, and they've never really consistently brought it with those. I'm worried about the quality of films that aren't produced by this Disney Marvel team they have going. Just the lack of vision, the lack of understanding of characters. As good as a start as you got with signing Tom Hardy, I'm not so sure what to think about this film. I'm not even sure they have a director. I'm not sure they have a script written. So who knows what it's going to end up looking like.
Yeah.
Now, you found that little note about doing a Spider-Man movie every other year like Harry Potter.
Yeah. Yep.
You'll have to. I still haven't seen the first one, so I can't really comment.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to Harry Potter, you had those books. You could say, "This is the book we're doing. Make this."
Yeah.
And I guess to a certain extent, you have like, we have this arc of Spider-Man comic books. Do that.
Mm-hmm.
But those comic books don't match up with this character.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Yeah, and I think it would be a big mistake to do it that way, because the way they've set this up now, it's kind of like what I was saying with including Tony Stark, and I think weaving him in intimately into this story is a real asset. Being a father figure and also kind of explaining the suit, all of that tech. I'm not so sure with the Spider-Man they've created, a bunch of standalones, I don't think is a great idea. I think this character they've written excels at being part of, not necessarily part of the team, which we will get eventually anyway, but at least part of the team or with other characters. I think just by himself, they really hammered home this idea that this is a kid who doesn't know what the hell he's doing.
Wow.
And is struggling with he's just trying to please everybody. He just wants to do the right thing, but just isn't there yet. You know what I mean?
So here goes my kind of last question, and I'm just gonna lay it out for you to close it up.
Yeah.
We talked about you being excited to see where they're going with this, knowing that maybe they're not going to go in a place that's connected to the rest of the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Maybe isn't even directly connected with this film. Are you still excited for it? Are you kind of wary for which step they're going to take?
Yeah. I'm not but so concerned, because I do get the sense that they know what they've created. I think they know that this, at least I hope that they realize that this is probably this kid is more of a support character.
Oh, wow.
In the Marvel universe. I don't know if this is how it'll play out, but the way I'm reading it is like seeing how they introduced Spider-Man. They introduced him as a side character
in a movie where there's 50 other characters.
Yes, and I'm hoping that they're taking that. That I'm interpreting it correctly. That they see this character as an addition to the universe, and maybe doesn't need, unlike this other stuff they've done like Thor and Captain America, doesn't need 100 standalone movies.
Wow.
At least not while he's still in high school. I'm hoping that they realize that we've done that enough freaking times. I don't need to see Spider-Boy anymore.
Right.
I want to see Spider-Man. And I'm hoping that with the way they've introduced him and the way they've developed the character thus far, maybe someone's woken up and realized that we don't need to keep pumping out high school Spider-Boy. We can see him as a complement to the Avengers and seeing him interact with the other characters, but maybe we put off the standalone slew of Harry Potter style movies until the sucker has grown. For once, can we see him grow up?
That'd be, you know what, I'm gonna second that. I think I'm curious to see where they go, as long as they do adult Spider-Man. It doesn't have to necessarily be dark. It doesn't have to be dealing with dying relatives and stillborn
drug
children
addiction.
or something. Drug addiction. It doesn't have to be all serious, but can we deal with this as an adult, perhaps?
Yeah.
Even a young adult, I'd be more interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
Right, well, that's all I have. I think I got a pretty good wrap up of the movie. I'm actually kind of curious about it now.
Yeah. No, for sure. Well, I guess we can wrap this on up.
Cool.
I think we have concluded our discussion of Spider-Man: Homecoming. Overall, I say it's a good movie. You'll have to ask JBell at a later date whether he agrees or not.
You know what? We might even do a wrap up video. I remember reading a bunch of articles about kind of the feminist problems with the problem that a lot of feminists have with the film.
With Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Huh.
There's we're in rough territory. We're deep in the red now. two male privileged assholes talking about feminism.
Sitting in the parlor discussing feminism.
Right. But there's the famous I think it's called the Bechdel test.
Uh-huh.
This movie fails it.
Wait, seriously?
And look, I haven't seen it, so I can't vouch for it. But I read at least one article that said, yeah, this movie fails it, and beyond that, there were other problems they had. I'm gonna have to see it for myself, and we'll have a follow-up talk about this.
Yeah.
Well, not just about the feminist
that one issue.
but that'll be something we definitely bring up.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that's it for now, and we'll be back.
Yeah, for sure. Hope you enjoyed, and we will be back to discuss more movies in the very near future.
Maybe some other topics too.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Nothing is off limits for us.
All right. See you guys.
Stay positive.